Hey guys, welcome to another yoga class. So I have been getting requests lately for pose breakdowns, right? Either for, trickier poses that you're not sure how to get into, arm balances, whatever it may be. I've been getting a few requests. So today we are going to do a pose breakdown for Wild Thing. Wild Thing is a big heart opener. It is a lot for the back, for the front of the hips and thighs, and a lot for the shoulders, right? So we are going to have a nice warm-up flow to kind of get us into the feel of the pose. Then we'll break down the pose. We'll find a few different ways to perhaps get into it, as well as run through a few drills that might help you get into that pose. Okay, so when you are ready, you will probably want a yoga mat. Otherwise, you need nothing else. So when you are ready, meet me on the mat. Okay, so we're actually going to get started in our tabletop position, all fours. So we'll come to all fours. And your wrists are underneath your shoulders, your knees are underneath of your hips. And then from here, just pick up one hand off of the mat, close that hand, open up, place it back down, right? So we're just gonna go back and forth, kind of pawing at the mat. And this is just to start getting the blood flowing in the hands, right? Warm up the wrists, warm up the hands. So Wild Thing is considered an arm balance, right? Because we balance on one arm, even if we're on both of our feet. So anyways, so it does require taking weight on the wrists, and so we just like to kind of get everything warmed up. All right, bring both hands down. Just find these circles with the chest out over the fingertips. And then switch directions. And then come back through center. This time bring the back of your hands onto the mat with your fingertips pointing towards you. And then from here, we're just gonna sink the hips back towards the heels. The back of the hand might come off of the mat just a little bit, and then come back forward. So this can be pretty intense. If this is very intense, walk your knees in towards your fingertips. Just take a little bit of the weight out of the hands. Right? We don't often stretch our wrists in this way. So we're just kind of moving back and forth, finding a big stretch, and then relaxing a bit. All right, let's do one more. And then just sit your hips to your heels, shake out the hands, or maybe interlace fingers and make a few figure eights. All right, then we'll come back to that tabletop position. Press down through the fingertips. Your knees are underneath of your hips again, and then we'll find our cat-cow. So inhale, belly drops, head comes up. And exhale, round the spine, chin to chest. Let's do that again. Inhale, cow pose, the belly drops. And exhale, cat pose, round the spine. One more time. Then just come back through center, tuck your toes under, send your hips up and back, downward facing dog. You can always lengthen your stance a little bit here. And then find any movement that feels good, right? You could pedal out the legs, bending one knee and then the other, or you kind of twist your hips side to side. Right? A little bit of exploratory movement just to find something that feels good in your body. Take one more big breath in, breath out. Find some stillness. The knees can be bent. Press your hands down and forward a bit to press your heart back towards your thighs. Then use your next inhale. I want you to think that cat pose, rounding through the spine. Use your next inhale to round all the way forward to plank. Then lower your knees down. Lower all the way down to your belly. We'll find a Cobra pose. So hands are by the rib cage. Hug your elbows towards each other. Inhale, lift head and chest. And then exhale, lower back down. Let's do that again. We'll inhale, lift head and chest. Maybe this time you lift and hover the hands. Lots of back body strength. Keep the shoulders rolling back. And then we'll lower back down. Press back up to your knees. Sink the hips back towards your heels. Child's pose. Take a big breath in. Breath out. And then we'll rise all the way up to kneeling, camel pose. So you'll bring your hands behind your hips, right? Either fists or hands to the back, to the lower back. Lift the heart up, press the hips forward, roll the shoulders back. Don't make this it doesn't have to be a super big camel pose, right? We're just warming up right now. Take a big breath in. And then breath out, coming back forward. Send the hands forward, downward facing dog once again. Send the hips up and back. Pedal out the legs. Take a big breath in. Breath out. Let's do that again. So inhale, round forward to that plank pose. Knees can lower, or maybe you just lower all the way down to that cobra. But then this time, take your hands out a little bit wider than your mat. So your hands are still in line with your shoulders. Then elbows point up towards the ceiling. Press your feet into the mat and inhale, lift head and chest. Just a bigger cobra, right? Maybe you wrap the elbows down and in. Take a big breath in and then breath out, lower down. One more of whatever variation of cobra you'd like, right? Inhale to lift up. Exhale, lower back down. Hands come back to your rib cage. We'll press back up to knees or plank. Child's pose for a breath. And then rising up for that camel pose. Once again, hands can come to lower back. We'll just lift the heart, a little bit of a back bend. Press your hips forward. Take a big breath in. And then breath out, coming out of it, downward facing dog. Hips go up and back. Pedal out the legs. All right, then from here, inhale, sweep that right leg back behind you, three-legged dog, and then bend the right knee, open the hip into kind of a fire hydrant pose here. All right, so your right heel is coming in towards your right bum, and then maybe take that right knee in a few big circles. And then switching directions of that circle. Then square off the hips, reach that right leg back behind you, take a big breath in. And then on your breath out, bring that right foot forward in between the hands. Left knee comes down, low lunge. We'll inhale, sweep the arms up. And then exhale just to drop the hands behind you, interlace fingers behind the back, or maybe you grab opposite forearms or elbows, whatever kind of feels good, and it helps you open up the chest and keep the shoulders back, right? So maybe interlacing fingers. Hug the elbows towards each other, lift the heart, maybe lift the gaze. Take a big breath in, breath out. Then release the hands. We'll inhale, sweep the arms up. And then on your exhale, this low lunge kind of dragonfly twist. We'll bring that left hand down to the mat. Keep that right arm reaching back behind you. Pressing your hips forward. Take one more big breath in, breath out. All right, so from here, we're going to bring the right hand down as well inside the right foot, and then just extend that right leg out back behind you. So you're kind of coming to a tabletop position, right? The left knee is still bent, that right knee is back, or right leg is back behind you. Then just pivot the left foot off of the mat, come to the inner edge of that, so the right foot will come down onto the mat, and then come to this modified side plank, right arm reaches up. So that left hand, left knee, and right foot are all more or less in a straight line. All right, you can stay here or bring your right fingertips behind your head, open up, pull that right elbow open even more, maybe twist the heart up towards the ceiling just a little bit more. Really press through that left hand. Take a big breath in, and then on your breath out, come all the way back through center. Bring that right hand down, bring the right knee down. Press yourself forward, lower down to your belly. Cobra, any variation, or maybe upward facing dog. Right? If you're in upward facing dog, the legs are engaged, you're pressing into the tops of the feet a lot. Knees are off the mat. Take a big breath in. On your breath out, child's pose, however you want to get there, for one breath cycle. Then rising up, camel pose. Roll the shoulders back, lift the heart, press the hips forward, take a big breath in. And then breath out, downward facing dog. Take your time to get there. Hips go up and back. All right, then from here, lift that left leg back behind you, but then bend that left knee, open up the hip, fire hydrant, right? We're trying to stack that left hip over top of the right, and then maybe taking a few circles in each direction with that left knee. Then square off through the hips, extend that left foot back out, take a big breath in. And then breath out, bring that left foot forward in between the hands, low lunge, right knee comes down. Inhale, sweep the arms up. And then exhale, this time instead of dropping the hands behind the back and interlacing fingers, see if you can just grab opposite elbows above the head, right? But then see if you can bring the hands, the forearms behind the head, press the head back to lift up even more. Right? Big stretch for the shoulders. So maybe you're actually holding on to wrists or something like that, right? That is okay. Take a big breath in, breath out, then reach the arms up, bring that right hand down, dragonfly, kind of a low lunge twist here. Right knee is still down, right hand is down. Just pressing the hips forward. Take a big breath in. Breath out. Then bring that left hand down, step that left foot all the way back so we kind of come to this table, a three-legged table or something, right? Left toes are down, right knee is down. Then from here, just find that modified side plank. So rolling to that right knee, right hand, left foot all down, left arm reaches up. And then either stay here or bring the left fingertips behind the head. Pull that left elbow open even more. Lift the heart up towards the ceiling. Remember to breathe. Keep pressing through that right hand. Don't collapse through the shoulder. Take one more big breath in. And then on your breath out, come all the way back to that tabletop position. And then we'll shift forward, lower down to your belly. Find any heart opener here that you'd like, Cobra, up dog, whatever. Then take a big breath in, breath out, child's pose, sink the hips back. And then here we go, rising up, camel pose. Press the hips forward, roll the shoulders back, lift up. And then downward facing dog. Extend the hands out, send the hips up and back. All right, take a big breath in. Breath out, then inhale, reach that right leg back behind you. Exhale, step the right foot forward. We're coming up to Crescent Lunge. So sweep the arms up. Right knee over right ankle, left heel is up in the back. Right, press your hips forward, lengthen your tailbone down. Then take a big breath in. On your breath out, that dragonfly twist will bring that left hand down, right arm reaches up. But then again, we'll bring that left knee down. So either just kind of stay here, right? Just reaching and twisting, or see if you can reach that right arm back behind you. Bend the left knee, see if you can grab that left foot. Big quad stretch. And if you don't have that foot, right, the foot won't come in close enough to grab, that is okay, right? This is a pretty big move. So you could still be bending and having it pull in towards the bum without being able to grab it, or you can just sit and stay twisted. Take one more big breath in, breath out. Release that left foot if you've got it. Lift the left knee up again, right? So tuck the left toes under. And then side plank on the left side. So we'll let the outer edge of that left foot come down. Maybe you heel toe that right foot towards center a little bit more. And then eventually stack it, lift it on top of that left foot. Keep the hips nice and lifted. Okay, so from here, just take the right toes, touch them right behind that left leg. And then press through that right toe, lift your hips, lift your heart, right? Roll your shoulders back, maybe reach that right arm towards the front of the room. Wild thing, we made it. All right, keep pressing through that left hand. Take a big breath in. On your breath out, lower the hips a little bit, come back to that side plank for a moment, and then just bring the right hand down, plank pose. Get down to your belly however you would like. Cobra or upward facing dog. Press back, child pose. You know where we're going, right? So lift up, camel pose. And then downward facing dog. Okay, all of that on the other side. Inhale, lift that left leg back behind you. And then sweep that left foot forward in between the hands. Crescent lunge, sweep the arms up. Press the hips forward. Big stretch on the front of that right hip flexor. Then take a big breath in. On your breath out, coming to that dragonfly twist briefly. Right hand down, left arm up. And then go ahead and drop that right knee down. Either stay here or reach left arm back towards the back of the mat. Maybe bend the right knee, grab for that right foot. Big, huge stretch for the quads, right? So if one side you are capable of grabbing that foot and the other you are not, that is okay, right? Maybe one day. Take one more big breath in, breath out. Release that right foot down. The right hand will plant. We're coming to that side plank on the right side. So we'll tuck the right toes, lift the right knee, come to the outer edge of that right foot, and then find a way to stack that left foot on top of right. Reach that left arm up. Then from here, just from side plank to that wild thing, we're just gonna lift up that left leg, bring the left toes behind you, and then just press your hips and your heart up, right? You're pressing down through that right arm, right? The more you press that right hand and that right foot away from each other, the more you'll be able to lift up into this pose. Reach that left arm forward. Take a big breath in. And then on your breath out, slowly lower the hips a little bit, right? So we can come back to that side plank. And then all the way through plank. One more time through this kind of vinyasa variation, right? We'll lower down, cobra or upward facing dog. Child pose. Camel, rising all the way up, heart opener. And then instead of downward facing dog, just find your hero pose. Set your hips down towards your heels. Maybe close the eyes for a moment. Take a big breath in, breath out. Shake things out a little bit. Okay, so we progressed to that wild thing, but now I'm going to, we're going to find a few variations or a few different ways to kind of warm up into wild thing or to practice it or, you know, whatever. Okay, so we're gonna find a seat. And we're going to bring the left leg out to the side, right? So bending it any kind of amount, I guess, that feels good. And then that right leg is gonna come across the body. Okay, so from here, we're gonna bring that right hand behind the hips, and then we're gonna press into that right hand, we're gonna press into both of our knees, and we're gonna sweep that left arm up and open, right? Lifting the hips, lifting the heart. All right, then we'll come back down. Let's do that one more time on this side. So we'll plant that right hand, sweep the left arm up, open up, press the hips forward, press the heart up, and then come back down. Just switch to that other side. So we'll let the feet come to the other direction. A right leg is coming off to the side, left leg is kind of crossing in front of us. And then we'll bring that left hand behind the left hip. Press into the hand, the knees, the shins, feet, right? Everything that's kind of touching the ground. And then we'll sweep that right arm up, press the hips forward, press the heart up, press into that left hand, take a big breath in, and then breath out, come back down. Let's do that one more time. I'll show you from the side in case you're wondering. Okay, so we'll bring that left hand down, then we'll inhale, sweep that right arm up, lift the hips and the heart, press away from the ground, take a big breath in, and then breath out, lower down. Okay, here we go. Same, but different. So this time, extend your left leg out long, bring the right foot to the inside of that left thigh. Then from here, bring the right hand behind the right hip, Press down through the left heel, press down through that right leg, and then press down through that right hand. Inhale, sweep the left arm up, lift the hips, press the heart up towards the ceiling. And then lower back down. Let's do that one more time. Inhale, sweeping up. Exhale, sweeping down. Just swap legs. Right leg out, left foot in. And then from here, again, I'll show you from the side. From here, bring that left hand behind the left hip. Inhale, sweep the right arm. Press the hips and the heart forward. And then lower back down. Let's do that one more time. Inhale to rise up. And exhale to lower down. Here we go, one more variation. So this time we're gonna spread the legs out into a straddle. It doesn't have to be your widest straddle, right? You don't have to go to the edge of your flexibility. But then from here, both of your legs are out long. Press into your heels. Your knees can be slightly bent. Bring your right hand behind your hip. Same thing. So if this feels like a bit too much, go back to that one-legged variety, either ones that we've already kind of tried. Press into that right hand. Press into your heels. Inhale, lift the hips, the heart, sweep that arm open, and then lower back down. Let's go right into that other side. I'll show you from the side, right? So that left hand comes behind the hips. Press down through the heels, press down through that left hand. Inhale, lift everything up, and lower everything down. One more time each side. Bring that right hand down. Inhale to lift up. Exhale to lower. Left hand comes down. Inhale, lift up. And exhale to lower. Okay, shake everything out. Okay, so we've opened up a lot. I've shown you things that are kind of like wild thing and kind of not. So, but lots of different heart openers. I'm going to show you one more time. We're going to go into wild thing from our downward facing dog, right? So a little bit different than we were doing it before. We were going from that side plank. So find your downward facing dog. And then from here, lift that right leg back behind you. So first way I'm going to show you, we're going to press forward to plank, right? So we'll keep that right leg lifted. It can always touch down, no problem. But then from here, just bend the right knee and see if you can pivot onto that left hand, bring the toes down behind you, lift the hips, lift the heart, right? So similar to that side plank entrance. Come back through center, downward facing dog. Okay, let's do that on the other side. So we'll lift that left leg back behind you, take a big breath in, and then breath out, come forward to that plank pose, bend the left knee, pivot to that right hand, outside edge of that right foot, bring that left toes down, lift the hips and the heart, and then come back through center. Bring the knees down, shake out the wrists. Okay, I'm gonna show you one more way. So that way that I just showed you, this is a really good way if you are not really familiar with this pose, right? Or when you go into your flip dog or your wild thing, you have compression in the lower back, right? Then we move through plank first. We can keep the spine nice and long, and then we can find the lift, right? So this other way is if you feel pretty good about it. Okay, so we'll give it a try. We're gonna send the hips up and back. Then we're going to lift that right leg back behind you. Put a slight bend in the left knee, and then fire hydrant. So bend the right knee, open up the hips, stack the hips on top of each other. Then from here, see if you can keep the hips nice and lifted, roll to the outer edge of that left foot. See if you can touch the right toes down, keep the hips lifted, roll the right shoulder open, the heart lifts up towards the ceiling. Take a big breath in. And then breath out, lower the hips a little bit to come out, lift up that right leg, come all the way back, downward facing dog. Okay, we'll try that on the other side, or keep going through that plank pose or any other variation that you're playing with, right? So lift up that left leg, put a slight bend in the right knee, and then bend the left knee, open up the hips. Okay, bend that right knee a little bit more, roll to the outer edge of that right foot, as the left hand lifts off of the ground and the left toes touch down. Press the hips up, press the heart up. Keep pressing through that right hand. Take a big breath in. On your breath out, gather through the core. Downward facing dog. Whew. Bring the knees down. Make your way to lying on your back. We'll just cool down for a moment. Okay. So we'll lay down on our back, draw both of the knees into the chest, and then let the knees fall to the left. So you might have to kind of shift around on your hips a little bit, Reach the arms out long, supine twist. Take a big breath in, breath out. Just move to the other side. Come back through center, let the knees fall to the right. And then come back through center. Happy baby or Supta Baddha Konasana or bridge, right? Any kind of pose that would help you in this class feeling good. And take one more big breath in. And then breath out, release the legs out long on the mat. Shavasana. Arms can relax by your side. I encourage you to stay here as long as feels good for you. A little bit of rest and relaxation. But otherwise, this is where we part. So until next time, keep on keeping on. Have a beautiful day. Namaste.